Well, yeah, you guys can do it. Get the youngest one. They're the ones that are best at running computers. All right. Yeah, and all you have to do is when I say next, just push the button. And I just want to remind everybody, this really does cut off to a lot of the bottom of the photo. I just want to, I know some of you have been working with me for years. You know my history. You know all about me. But there's a lot of new people that come on every 3 years. And so I feel like I need to do a little bit of a review. And I just wanted to say I've been a missionary 19 years now. We were commissioned by the General Board in 1992, and my wife and I and my daughter went to Africa in 1995 to begin work in the Zaire, which became the Republic of Congo. We finally, after about 4 years, we had to pull out of there because of the fall of the dictator Mobutu Sese Seko and the increasing instability of the government. And like many other mission-sending agencies, we had to pull out. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't quite know what we were going to be doing. And we were fortunate to have a Holy Spirit that's always planning ahead and seeing where the opportunity will be. There was a chief on the Zambian side who wrote to our bishop and said he would give land if he could have missionaries like those ones up in Congo. And he was referring to my wife and I. And little did he know he would actually get those missionaries at his site. But we went there, we found it wasn't a little land, it was 2,500 acres of land, included a river and a waterfall. It had the water resources that I knew would be necessary to have a successful experimental station and training center. And so we started work on it. There was not any, it wasn't even a road into the site. It was pioneering in the biggest sense of the word. We were 500 miles or kilometers from the closest large city where we could get supplies. It really was the end of the road. We're almost in Zambia, almost in Angola, almost in DR Congo. We're in that very extreme corner. Next. Unfortunately, about a year after starting work on that site, my wife came down with ovarian cancer, and we had to come back to the U.S. I was fortunate to have Bishop Rader, who encouraged me and helped me to become a licensed local pastor. I was assigned to the Ladysmith and Tony churches in Rusk County. It was quite a challenging assignment. The church in Ladysmith had been destroyed by a tornado the previous year, and so I spent the first year there just concentrating on reorganizing the congregation, convincing them that they had the energy and the resources to rebuild. And this is a picture actually of Bishop Rader and my district superintendent and myself at the consecration of a new United Methodist church there. That's kind of a rare thing for a first-term pastor to be given a construction assignment like that. So it gave me a lot of experience in many places that I didn't have before. Next. I just wanted to get to this map of Zambia. First of all, I want to say about Africa. Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent. It's the second largest continent on the face of the earth. It's much larger than North America. There are 52 independent countries in Africa. And every country is very different from every other country. There are many tribes within each country. Zambia has 72 tribes, 72 different linguistic groups in that country. And we work mostly with one, but our fame is spreading, and we are helping people from other parts of the country. We had people that were studying at a college in Lusaka do their practicum at our place this last year. We've had 4 guys come down from Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo to learn our methods because they're planning to build a center similar to our own near Kinshasa. A few weeks before we left, we had our first visitors from Angola. It was sort of fun sitting at our lunch table as we sat around the table. There were conversations going on in Portuguese, English, Lunda, and Swahili. So it was very much a Tower of Babel right at the dinner table. But it was interesting to be able to know that our project is known even in Angola and far away as Kinshasa. Next. It was clearly the plan of the Holy Spirit that I get that experience in Ladysmith, because as soon as I got back to Congo, I found that the Zambia had been named a provisional annual conference of the United Methodist Church, working its way toward becoming a full annual conference with its own bishop. Currently, it's presided over by Bishop Katembo Kayanda from Congo, and he was struggling to put together an organization for that provisional annual conference. Most of the pastors had only 6th grade or 8th grade educations. Few of them could speak English. Few had read the works of John Wesley. Few knew the Book of Discipline. Few were even doing the sacraments. And so he asked myself and another missionary to stand to be ordained as full elders. And we were in the very first class of pastors ordained inside Zambia. Next. Our project is holistic. We try, my job description says I'm an economic developer or an agricultural trainer, but really you can't develop people, you can't train people in one sphere without also concerning yourself with their social development, with their spiritual development. And so we try to do all those things, and we try to always put God at the center of everything we do there. Next. We are there to empower Africans. We have kind of created a new paradigm of mission work. We want to offer people a hand up instead of a hand out. We want them to train them so that they can increase their productive skills, to have integrity and Christian values. We emphasize professionalism and integrity in our workers, opportunities for advancement, identification of God's gifts in individuals, because we have many, like Andre here, who have just incredible gifts. He never went to really to any kind of formal mechanic school or anything, but he's learned to weld. He's learned to take a diesel engine apart, put it back together, and it actually runs. He does motorcycle mechanics. He does electronics. He helped me to install our solar system in my new house. He has learned to drive the vehicle. He takes care of the vehicles. He manages my house, and when we have volunteer and mission teams, he takes very good care of all of the visitors we have to make sure that they have warm beds and good food. And he's been very, very gifted in that. We have other workers. My colleague Chala. Next. I just want to say again, we avoid the handouts. It's like giving somebody a crutch. If you hand a crutch to an able-bodied person long enough, you might start learning to use it, and then you've got a handicapped person. Or rather, we give them a hand up. We give them what they need so that they can develop their own skills and talents. Give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he will eat for a lifetime. Next. This is Chalamwengo. He is now the co-director of our mission project. He started out as just a kid that came to our house and introduced himself and started working with us. He was very intuitive. He loved teaching. He loved interacting with people and discussing agriculture and doing agriculture. Here he is pictured teaching people to use, using the heifer project model of giving out a pregnant female and then having people return their young rabbits as the obligation for getting started in the rabbit business. And then these rabbits would be given to somebody else so they could start their project. He worked very hard. If I would say under my breath, I wish there was a Sunday school in this church. In a week, there would be a Sunday school. If I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if the Sunday school could have a garden? In another week, he had the garden going. It was that he was just that able-bodied and willing to help me do things that were just pipe dreams. He wanted to get a higher education. He asked if we could help support him to go to seminary, and I said that, we'll help you go to school, but not to seminary. The church appoints all sorts of pastors. They go out into villages and they proceed to starve, and their children die prematurely. That's not the type of example we want the Methodist Church to be. We want to show people living in abundance. And so I said we would pay and raise the money to send him to Africa University to the School of Agriculture so that he could come back and be a teacher of pastors and be a teacher of lay people in agricultural techniques, so that the Methodists would no longer be the poorest people in town, but the wealthiest people in town. Because God does promise abundance to everyone if they follow the commandments. So he went to Africa University. He was fortunate when he finally graduated after 5 years, because it took 1 year of learning English before he could start classes, because he grew up in a Francophone country. But he graduated, and it was just when Roxanne was diagnosed with cancer and had to go to and we had to stay in the States. So he kept that project running for 4 years while I was stateside. And after my wife died, I came back. I found that he had cleared land. He had begun the construction of a missionary house. He had done much to keep that project, if not prospering, at least together, so that I could come back to it. At Mujila Falls, we teach appropriate technology methods, low input agriculture, which means we try to get people into farming with the least possible amount of money, because people just don't have money to invest in tractors or high-tech equipment. We began with very simple equipment, very simple techniques, ways that they could increase the amount of maize they could plant or vegetables so that they could improve their diets and perhaps even have a little income in the end from their efforts. And then little by little, we could build them up into true farmers in a commercial sense. Next. We started, our central project was our egg project. We brought in cattle that we could train. We started by plowing, but we wanted to teach them that the oxen have to be used year-round, just like a tractor. You can't afford to use it just for plowing and then park it in the shed the rest of the year. You've got to be using it if you're going to get your investment back. And so we figured out ways to use the plows, the oxen for cultivating. In the off-season, we were using them for building dams, for hauling bricks, and at harvest time, we could use them for bringing in the crops. So our oxen have become very valuable. And in the last 3 years, we helped two of our workers went together. We sold them oxen and helped them build a cart and finances so they could have a cart that they could use for their own farming. And those oxen are used throughout the year because he has a son. Even though he's working for me, his son is always renting the oxen out, hauling bricks for people, hauling water, hauling in people's crops. And just recently, another farmer wanted to plant 200 banana plants. And so he came to our site. We sold him the bananas at a very reasonable rate. And then he rented this other farmer's cart and oxen, and they hauled 2 huge cartloads of banana suckers to that farm. So now suddenly the community is working for itself, and we're hardly involved other than selling them the banana suckers. That farmer is already a huge producer of maize. Now he's going to be the largest producer of bananas in the area, other than ourselves. Next. We work very hard at training the drivers. As I said, when they come, they learn everything that there is to know about doing it. They start by carving a yoke. We provide them a piece of wood and some of the tools, and somebody like Andre would direct them, and they would carve their yoke. Once they got that done, we give them a piece of chain, and they begin the training process. They learn to treat the animals humanely, to be patient with them, to treat them well, so that the animal will do its best work for them. Next.